It's the king of the streamers, but at $19.99 a month, we have to ask, is 4K Netflix worth it? Netflix has been making a lot of headlines lately. I mean, it's probably good stuff. Let's just take a quick peek. Okay, this is getting a little complicated. Prices are climbing and Netflix is cracking down on account sharing at exactly the same time other streaming services are exploding. Now, before we jump in, we hope you can keep up with the work here on Slickdeals, maybe occasionally pause on binge watching the last season of Better Call Saul, and hit those subscribe buttons down below for more videos on how to shop smart. So this topic is hot online right now. Even my wife and I are questioning how much we spend on entertainment. The streaming fatigue is real. But we can still chat about the pros and cons, maybe work out ways to save you some cash. We're gonna break this down looking at prices, the size of the catalog, the technology employed, and any fun perks that set Netflix apart. So starting with the price, it's pretty high. Netflix charges per screen and for higher quality. Sure, a basic plan is $9.99 a month, but who wants to stream standard def? Climbing to $15.49 doubles your screens and delivers HD, but we're talking about the Ultra HD at $19.99 a month and with a total of 4 concurrent screens streaming and downloading. It's one of the frustrating aspects where price is clearly linked to screens and quality, but we can't mix and match. Keep 1080p, but expand on the number of concurrent streams. Rumors are pointing to additional costs for adding family or friends that don't live in the same household as you, and there might even be a future lower tier of ad-supported streaming. But at the time this was shot, we didn't have confirmation from Netflix on those plans. Would you keep Netflix if they added ads? Comments down below. So Netflix is charging the most, but are we getting the most with Netflix? Well, Netflix has suffered a few losses there too, like The Office going to Peacock and the excellent Marvel series going to Disney. I was personally surprisingly emotional after losing *Halt and Catch Fire*. But in terms of pure quantity, Netflix still maintains the largest number of well-reviewed content, the longest list of certified fresh films on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not a one-stop shop anymore, so there's no guarantee you'll find exactly what you want to watch. It's now a catalog you need to dig through a little more. Like, you can't watch Friends, but I'm kinda good with rewatching Seinfeld. The Netflix originals can be a little hit or miss, and you certainly don't want to get too attached to a new show because it probably won't get a season 3. When considering shows like a miniseries though, there are some incredible stories being told. I'm still kind of chewing on Midnight Mass in the back of my brain. Netflix films generally open to higher viewership than theatrical releases, and it's been interesting seeing what projects they've been greenlighting lately. After some of the rough stock market news, it's probably not a bad idea for their production arm to rein in a little spending. Netflix as a movie studio could definitely do with just a bit more focus. It's why we have to look at the competition though. There's no one-stop shop. That moment when you want to watch something specific and it's on another catalog, that just feels like cash evaporating out of your wallet. HBO and Disney's offerings are leaner, but the collections are a lot more cultivated. Disney's is obvious with Disney films, but also the home of Marvel and Star Wars. The recent Fox acquisition means we're seeing a small trickle of other studio films and shows arrive. HBO started the trend of high production value television in the cable era. I'm sorry, it's not television, it's HBO. And HBO is a no-brainer if you're into DC shows and movies. Netflix doesn't have a single hook like that, which is the blessing and the curse. It's a broader catalog, but you might need to hunt more to find something that suits your tastes. And I think that might be the main issue with Netflix right now. I like digging into the nooks and crannies, but I don't think the recommendation engine at Netflix does a great job helping people discover new content. There's so much stuff, I think a lot of folks get burnt out. Watch something they've already seen a dozen times, and that feels like you're wasting your subscription cash. Moving on, the technology. And the tech at Netflix is impressive considering how much data the service moves around the internet. They've been ahead of the curve for every major transition in living room tech, from DVD rentals to today with 4K. You're paying a lot for the privilege, but the 4K is pretty good. I'm not a display specialist, I'm an audio guy by trade, but looking at image quality and data rate, content looks really good on our newer 4K TV. I have a small stack of 4K Blu-rays, and I think I'd be hard-pressed to see any difference at a reasonable viewing distance from my TV. Of course, you need a good internet pipe to get that clarity. Netflix in 4K can chew up 7 to 10 gigs of data per hour per connection. For those with monthly data limits, beware. Get 3 people streaming in your house at the same time, and that bucket of data starts draining fast. Recent improvements at Netflix are also forward-thinking for better image compression though. A new codec claims to maintain the same quality while saving as much as 20% on that data consumption. The Netflix audience is so large, the company has a serious interest in pushing the limits on distribution and compression. It's an interesting push and pull. Stepping up to 4K puts more load on servers, which significantly jacks up costs. Investment in new tech is expensive, but should also balance some of those costs and eventually lower the overhead on consumers. But that's an expensive moving target. Other streaming services will get to benefit from those investments too. If Netflix is successful with AV1 compression, that will have a ripple effect for support on smart TVs and streaming sticks. Then Disney, HBO, Hulu, etc. can start migrating their catalogs thanks to Netflix taking that first step. Lastly, a quick comment on other perks. Netflix is investing in more interactive content, and they're building a small gaming library. This is also expensive new territory and steps outside what people know from Netflix. We're trained to understand Amazon Prime as a collection of services, but it's tricky psychological territory adding other media to Netflix. Did you watch the Black Mirror film Bandersnatch, for instance? Cool, but weird, having to periodically make selections on a TV show to keep watching. What might attract some consumers, others are likely going to feel their increased monthly bill is going towards content they don't want to pay for. Personally, I think the collection of games on Netflix is pretty good, and they step away from the terrible microtransactions often found in mobile games. I like it as a value add, but it's definitely complicated. If you're already paying for them though, the new games are totally worth a try. Whew. Okay, that was a lot of rambling. We've got the data, walked through some of the pros and cons, and we still have to answer the question, is 4K Netflix worth it? And statistically, I have to lean towards no. First of all, 4K TVs have only just fallen to more reasonable prices, where someone replacing a TV has reached the price that 1080p TVs used to occupy. And if you own an older, nicer 1080p TV, it might not be an upgrade to replace it with the cheapest 4K options out there. And then we have to factor in the not insignificant number of folks who might not have the data speeds to properly stream 4K. And even then, someone might have the bandwidth, but might be reluctant to have their family eat up their monthly data cap. And most of the perks are totally still available at the 1080p price tier too, like games, separate user accounts, and saving content for offline viewing. If you're someone like me who really enjoys the experience of digging through some of the more obscure shelves, looking for new things to watch, it's a strong maybe as a recommendation. Yeah, I still keep Netflix as a primary streaming service for my family, and we have the infrastructure and the TVs to really take advantage of 4K streaming, but I think it makes more financial sense for more folks out there to step down to a lower tier or move Netflix to a cycle service. Turn on your subscription when there's something you know you want to watch, and push pause in between for a couple months to save some cash. It's okay if Netflix isn't a foregone conclusion subscription anymore. But maybe I'm way off. Have I overlooked a critical data point? Am I the person who's wrong on the internet? Then you gotta let us know in the comments below. How are you managing your entertainment spending? As always, thanks so much for watching, sharing, subscribing, smashing the bell icon. For Slickdeals, I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, aka Some Gadget Guy, and I'll catch you all on the next video.